Hey YouTube, Bill here. Today I'm going to be canning some of the sauerkraut I made in my previous video. If you didn't happen to watch that and have any interest, go ahead and check it out. I am going to be canning it in pint-sized jars, because who really needs to eat a whole quart of sauerkraut at a time? So I got my pint jars, my bands and lids, my funnel, my little jar holder, and my instructions. The Balls canning guide. I'm going to be doing a hot pack method. You can see it if I can hold the book steady. Warm up the sauerkraut, put it in jars, put the bands and lids on, and process for 15 minutes. So let's get started. The first thing I have to do, obviously, is get the sauerkraut into a pan. And then the next thing I have to do is get it heated up. Now it says heat it to 180 degrees, but don't boil it. So you just want to get it hot and steamy, but not boiling. I also have my water bath processing pot here, filled it with hot water to save some time on the actual getting it up to a boil. And I'm gonna heat these two things up and come back in a second. All right, we got our cabbage hot and steamy. We got our water boiling. Now we just have to transfer it to these waiting pint jars here. We need to make sure we leave a ½ inch of headspace. See if this will actually work through the funnel here. Yeah, it should be packed in probably about as much as it was in the jar when it was fermenting. So you can get a lot more in than just a loose pack will give you. Keep in mind it's going to actually cook a little bit when it is in there. So difference between this versus losing my train of thought here. The difference between this and the fresh raw sauerkraut, it'll be a lot softer. Won't have that same bite, that same crunch. It might change color a little bit too. So it's, we've got about ½ inch right there. We'll keep going until we fill all the jars. So now we got everything into the jars, all filled up. Now, as always, we want to wipe the rim of the jar with a damp paper towel or cloth. Some people don't like to use paper towels for just about anything. Some people only use paper towels for everything. I'm probably one of those in the latter camp. And we put on our lids and rings. We don't need to get it too tight. When you're canning, I've said it before in a previous video, when you're canning, the idea of heating it is that you need to heat it up, expel the air through the seal of this lid. The air has to be expelled through that as it's heating up and the air is expanding. Then you as the air starts to condense, it contracts, and that suctions down the seal, which is what pulls in the lid. So if you crank it down really, really hard, you'll never get any of the air expelled, and then you'll never get any air pulled back in from the atmosphere, sealing down the jar. So a lot of reasons people fail is they think that they need to really crank it down to seal the jars, but you're not sealing the jars with the tightening. You're sealing the jars with the process that actually works for canning. So, and that's it. We just take it and we transfer it into our boiling water. As always, I'm going to try and do this one-handed and hope I don't burn myself or drop it. Let me put that on there. And now we're good to go. 15 minutes later, turn on our 15-minute timer. Once it's done, we'll transfer them to a board to cool slowly at room temperature. Alright, and we're done. I'll take these off the boiling water, which I cannot do with one hand. But what I can do, get my trusty bamboo cutting board, grab them out, dump most of the water off, stick them on there. That's it. Now we'll leave them there for however long it takes them to cool to room temperature. Probably a few hours, maybe even the rest of the day. And we'll be good to go to put it on the shelf, and it'll stay indefinitely. Thanks for watching.